Hello everyone and welcome back to a second Doctor Who video. I really wasn't expecting to do 2 videos in one day, but that's the way the cookie crumbles. I don't appear for ages and then I do 2 videos in one day, but we have had yet another Doctor Who trailer, albeit a shorter one this time, in between BBC programming. I believe that Comic Relief is currently ongoing, so I don't know whether this is just a one-off or whether it's part of the Comic Relief festivities. One has to assume that it's probably just a one-off, given that there wasn't really any kind of indication that we would be seeing anything Doctor Who related at Comic Relief. Normally, if there is something, it'll be promoted beforehand, but obviously in this case, it wasn't. So maybe this is all we're getting, but nonetheless, it'll be good to check out another new trailer, some new shots in here, and some new details, kind of confirming some things that we've already suspected. But yeah, let's get right into it. So I want to give a shout out to Bad Wolf Archives for being the first one to spot this, at least what I saw. You know, they were the first one to put it on my Twitter timeline. Shout out to them for being on it like a Scotch bonnet. I think what we're going to do is watch it first, and then I'm going to give you my thoughts on it and kind of break it down as well. So it's a very fast moving trailer, so let's go.
Doctor, you need to get me home.
This might be the long way round. We are meant to voyage out there and own it.
We're just popping in.
Girl, you are beginning to enjoy this.
The new series of Doctor Who starts Saturday, 12th of April on BBC One and iPlayer.
So yeah, a very, very quick trailer, but let me go through the details. So, first shot is the shot we've seen before of the TARDIS taking off, presumably episode 1. Then we get a bunch of things flashing, but the really interesting thing happens just here, where we see a calendar marking out May, specifically May Day. So, if you remember back to filming images, we saw a poster with May Day on it. So I assume that the finale has something revolving around May Day to a certain degree, potentially to do with, you know, one of the characters that we saw on the posters as well. So yeah, that kind of confirms that. And then we see the taxi that we've kind of seen floating around in some of the other, like, sort of BBC One idents as well. Kind of, again, hinting towards the kind of collapse of the universe kind of idea that we were seeing. I will say, this whole trailer also very much feels quite similar to kind of a very flux sort of style, which is interesting. And then, yeah, we get the Doctor, you need to get me home, which is, again, in the previous trailer. But yeah, obviously doubling down on the fact that the big thing for this series is going to be that Varada does not want to be the Doctor's travelling companion and is going to move heaven and earth to get back home. So you have them looking out at space here. That shot of those ships. And then this is our first new shot of the trailer, I believe. And it's Gatwa kind of covering his ears, being blasted by something. You can see he's holding his Sonic. I'm going to assume that this is... Oh, it could be like episode 5, it could be, no, episode 6. Which one's the Interstellar Song Contest? That one, because I believe in one of the shots for the song contest, he's wearing this outfit. So I have to assume that that's this, and also I suppose if he's covering his ears, you know, if there's kind of a musical theme, that might make sense. If there's like a musical themed villain, kind of similar to Maestro possibly, that could make some sort of sense. It'd be really cool if Maestro kind of, maybe not came back, but was at least referenced in the Eurovision episode, given that, like, she is the god of music, and, you know, we're very much keeping with the god theme as well. We get a shot of Eurovision here, very blurry, so you don't get to see a lot of it, but, you know, the space Eurovision here, the big sort of stadium, the shot of them falling through that ship, and then this shot's really interesting, but before we get into that, I want to talk about the 15th Doctor's line, we're meant to voyage out there and own it, which he says in the previous trailer, which I think is really interesting, because it could mean one of 2 things. So yeah, the idea of voyaging out there and owning it could mean 2 things. It could mean owning it in kind of the modern slang context of, like, slaying, which is very much a possibility, but by the tone of his voice and by the inflection, voyaging out there and owning it kind of has a more sinister undertone to me. It kind of gives kind of imagery to me of things like, you know, colonization and stuff like that. Obviously, maybe I'm extrapolating way too much out of one line of dialogue, I probably am, but potentially could we be seeing a darker motive for this Doctor going into the 2nd season? But the other thing I wanted to point out, of course, is this. So I believe this is episode 5. It's the one where we see him dangling out of that building with the afro. But what's interesting is, it looks like this building is on top of the god spider that we've seen in the previous trailer, which many people are speculating is the African god of stories, which would be very cool. But I'll be interested to see how this, like, factors in with them basically doing a kind of James and the Giant Peach-esque situation here, where they're living on top of it. And then we get a shot of Mr. Ring-a-Ding coming out of the television here, or coming out of the movie theatre. And then, yeah, he's falling, and then he wakes up. So what I find really interesting is that most of these trailers only seem focused on about, at max, like 2 to 3 episodes. You've got the opener, which is this one. You've got the Eurovision one, which I assume is this one. And then you've got the Gravity one, and I guess this one, which is episode 5. So I guess there's 2 shots from other episodes as well. But broadly, only the first sort of few episodes are really being shown, which is interesting and exciting because it means that there's probably going to be a lot left that we've not seen. But that, I think, about wraps up everything we can see from this trailer. If you have any more thoughts, feel free to leave them in the description. Let me know what you guys think. If there is another trailer tonight that comes out, I'll cover it. There was, in fact, a second trailer. Yeah, there was a second trailer via, this time I believe it was Northern Ireland BBC One, got a slightly different trailer to the rest of the UK. So we're going to be taking a look at that. I want to give a shout out to my friend Alison over on Twitter who posted this one. And yeah, we're going to take a look at it.
Doctor, you need to get me home.
This might be the long way round.
I am not one of your adventures.
We are meant to voyage out there and own it.
Oh, we're so safe.
There are forces beyond this universe. Our entire reality is in danger.
I promised that I would keep you safe.
You come.
I can. I do. I will take you home.
The new series of Doctor
There we go. Okay, so I would say this one is more in line with stuff we've already seen, but let's go shot for shot. So we get this shot, which is, I assume, episode 1, same line to open up the trailer. This one is more kind of, I guess, conventional in its structure. There isn't that kind of cool effect of kind of like weird kind of transitions.
You need to get me home.
But you get like the same line of dialogue opening, that same kind of shot here, same ship shot, and then we get a new shot of episode 1, some of the shots from the trailer, same line of dialogue, and yeah, we see this.
We're so safe.
Yeah, this is from the previous trailer. So this is a new shot of Shooty. I think this was in the German trailer. This is episode 2. So this is him saying there are forces beyond this universe. So I'm assuming this is him introducing Mr. Ring-a-Ding to Verada, to Belinda, basically saying, yeah, this is one of the gods, probably like maybe the god of film, the god of cartoons, the god of, you know, whatever this god is, they're going to be introduced here by the Doctor. So that's my assumption here.
Our entire reality is in danger.
Them falling out of that building. So yeah, that's what I meant when I said that I believe that building that they fall out of is the building on top of that spider creature, because you can kind of see the webs on the outside as well. I believe some of these shots are new. Again, Robot Revolution episode 1. Yeah, you can kind of tell that these guys are kind of the last survivors in some sort of robot conflict. I love how kind of like Jetsons, kind of 50s inspired, like space age this is. I really like the sort of visual language of this story. I think this could be a really fun one if it's executed well, for sure.
That I would keep you safe.
You come.
I can. I do. I will take you home.
Yeah, so sort of the reiteration of I will keep you safe, you can't, I can, I will, and then I will take you home, which I believe is a new line we've heard there, which is again a reiteration of what seemingly is the series goal of getting Verada home. I will say as well, the sound cut out for the first trailer, so if you heard sound transitions in this one but didn't in the previous one, that's why. But yeah, it does seem like things are finally ramping up after an extended period of relative silence from the Doctor Who social media accounts, at least on Twitter. Apparently they are more active on Instagram. I have heard a rumour that like several BBC accounts are kind of winding down their Twitter activity, likely as a result of, you know, the whole like Elon Musk thing. So if that's the case, then it would explain why Doctor Who's been more active on things like Instagram, but less so on Twitter. Or it might also just be a reallocation of resources. Maybe they think they reach more people on Instagram. But I do think that if that is the case, it's unfortunate timing that they're doing it now, just as a new series of Doctor Who is about to start. Because even though, you know, Twitter is a bit of a minefield, it is still one of the biggest Doctor Who social media accounts that it probably is worth using and utilising to promote the show. I guess I just hope that this is the precursor to one final big trailer, whether it's the translated version of the German trailer or a slightly altered one as a result of that leaking, because I have to assume by the fact that Disney never acknowledged it, that obviously wasn't supposed to come out when it did, but the fact that we've all seen the footage and like nothing's been acknowledged of it since might prompt them to make a slightly different trailer, although it's also possible that they just give us the same trailer again because only a small fraction of the people actually watching will have seen that one. But yeah, I'm rambling. If you did enjoy this video, be sure to give it a like, subscribe if you're new, go and check out today's earlier video on some of the interviews given by Gatwa and Russell. Very, very interesting stuff there. Also, shout outs to everyone who supported the cameo. I've had a couple more requests, and I greatly appreciate your support on that. It's been great fun, and the link to that will be the top link in the description. And I will see you later.